right, this game is being broadcast in Spanish. We're available using the SAP button on your television. Denver won and deferred. They got Landry deep for Miami. And McManus trying to drive it through the back of the end zone, and he earns a touchback, which will bring out Ryan Tannehill in this Miami offense. Now, he was sacked a season-high 5 times in the last outing against Buffalo. We're going to pay close attention to the right side today. Dallas Thomas at right tackle. Now, he was mismatched in that game against Mario Williams, who was constantly on Tannehill. And today, it's going to be Thomas and others trying to contain Von Miller, Tannehill's old Texas A&M teammate. They're going to come out with shotgun formation. And that's Landry, a fast emerging rookie out of LSU in motion. It's the give to Miller, and he's got 5. Lamar Miller is having a good season. Here's the Denver defense of Jack Del Rio, allowing just last week its first 100-yard rusher of the season, Trey Mason of the Rams, where, as Tracy reported, fighting a fever, but he's out there starting. And, of course, Talib and Harris, a pair of good corners, both out of Kansas University. And you see Von Miller down on a knee on the sideline after one play. 2nd and 5 for Miami, and Tannehill looks down the middle and finds his target. It's Deion Sims, who starts today again at tight end with Charles Clay out with a hamstring and knee injury. Gain of 16.
How about Ryan Tannehill? Good way to start. Tight coverage. The defensive rush to pass rush. He's under pressure. He gets hit and just drills it right into the belly of Deion Sims for a first down. That'll give you confidence and take some of those pre-game or early game jitters away when you make a good throw like that.
So Miller still struggling on the sideline. First down carry. Miller of the Dolphins. Lamar Miller high-stepping it inside the 40, and Harold Hoskins, the backup tight end, had that whole side sealed, and it opens it up for 22.
On the outside, it takes a good block by the tight end, and you said it, Gator Hoskins. There you go, number 89. What a good block. That allows Miller to get outside, and anytime you see a running back in this league go outside on a good run, there's usually a really good blocking tight end that helps him get there.
Big run by Lamar Miller, but Von Miller, the story here in the first minutes, is now he's up limping on the Denver sideline, and the Dolphins are driving from the 37. Tannehill still has it, and he's going to fall forward for about 8. Tannehill has 4 carries this season already for at least 20 yards. And only Russell Wilson can say that. You can see what Tannehill's done since this team went over to London and played their 4th game. They were 1-2 heading to London, and since that time he's been on the rise.
Well, he's been on the rise, and you and I have talked about it. You could see it in his play. You could see it in the way he presents himself. We talk to him, and you know, Jim, the coaches are going, we should have yelled at him a lot earlier. But ever since that, it's amazing how well he's played.
His numbers against the Bills, he was sharp. 2 touchdowns, no picks, 2nd and 2, and he's got Landry who breaks free. Jarvis Landry is out of bounds near the 10. He made the catch and then fought off Chris Harris Jr., picks up 20.
Well, something that we talked about against the Buffalo Bills, when you talk about this receiving core for the Miami Dolphins, can they make enough contested catches? Here we are, the first 2 passes of the game. Landry, Chris Harris is all over him, and Deion Sims both make tough catches and excellent throws under pressure by Tannehill.
Daniel Thomas comes into the backfield. Dolphins already with 3 plays of at least 15 yards. And on 1st and goal, and that's Thomas taking the pile with him for 6. Here's this Denver defense that only gave up 1 touchdown last week, 5 field goals, 1 long touchdown throw to Kenny Britt. But they are giving up big yardage here as Miami's all the way down to the 3 now.
Well, they were looking to get confidence. One thing, this offense looks fast, operating the way they are right now. They wanted to give confidence to the quarterback and the offensive line. I think they gained that here early in the game.
Linebacker McCray, 55, is in there for Miller, who looks like he might be ready to come in if he's given a chance here. 2nd and goal. And taken burst ahead near the goal line. Touchdown from the far side. Touchdown, Daniel Thomas.
He reached out. He might have been over anyway, but at the last second, Daniel Thomas reaches out and gets the football across. And the good thing there for the Miami Dolphins, if you just look, watch the defensive line, it moves backwards, and then allows Thomas to get in there. They're clearly over the goal line. But Samson Satelli, he was the lead guy pushing that pile. Juwan James did a good job too.
This is a Denver defense that was tops in the league for much of the season against the rush. They just allowed Miami to drive, and 44 of it on the ground.
They conquered that slow start, didn't they?
Oh, they really did. That's been one thing they really wanted to come out and do today. That's a big thing Philbin was talking about. Sturgis adds the extra point. Here's Denver allowing only 73 yards a game on the ground. They just gave up 44. Tannehill completed a couple of throws for 36. And there's Von Miller still getting some attention from some of the personnel. Let's get an update, in fact, on Von Miller from Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. He missed most of that drive because he took a hard hit to the groin area. He just really needed to just shake it off, walk it off. Right now, he looks like he's fine and ready to go back in on that next drive.
It happened on the first play of the game. And that was, we talked about that matchup. That was Dallas Thomas.
Pushing him back,
Pushing him back, and the knee to the groin. And Miller staggered to the sideline and missed the rest of that series, and the Dolphins took advantage.
Well, on both throws by Ryan Tannehill, he was under pressure both times. So that's something to look forward or look at as this game goes along.
Bolden is the man who fields it, Omar Bolden. Usually Andre Caldwell or even Isaiah Burst, but Bolden gets a chance and he matches his uniform number. 31-yard return, which brings out Peyton Manning, 30 touchdowns on the season, which leads the league. He has now, oddly enough, thrown 2 picks in each of the last 3 games.
Yeah, he was pretty upset when he was talking to us just about that, the fact that he had thrown those interceptions. And the good thing about Peyton Manning, he understands the dynamics of his football team. When that game was over in St. Louis, he said, look, quarterback's got to play better, and he knew he missed some chances in that game.
And as Tracy reported, Julius Thomas inactive with an ankle injury, so Virgil Green gets the start. Straight ahead they go with C.J. Anderson. The undrafted second-year man out of Cal has 8. It's pretty good Miami defense right here. Second in the league overall. Total defense. Jenkins in on so many tackles. And the big thing missing for them today is Cortland Finnegan, so Jamar Taylor. Let's watch that matchup too.
Yeah.
Taylor getting his second career start.
Taylor, high draft pick, very capable, played well against Buffalo. Not a big drop-off for the Dolphin defense.
2 straight running plays for the Broncos, yielding a first down. So Peyton, the last 7 times he's gone into a game off of a loss, he's won the next game. And he's thrown 28 touchdowns. So averaging 4 touchdowns a game after a loss.
374 yards. I couldn't hardly listen, Jim. I'm just looking at those numbers. 374 yards a game after those losses. But already you're looking at it. Double tight ends. And one of those tight ends is an offensive lineman, Paul Cornick.
On first down, we're staying with the ground game, and is going to lose one this time with Anderson. You know, Peyton's only lost consecutive games one stretch in his Bronco career, and that was games 2 and 3, right? Season number 1 here in Denver, at Atlanta, and home against Houston. As you saw, he's backed up the next 7 with wins and big performances.
Listen, just his talent, but every offense he's been on is so dynamic. When they do lose, of course, they can always come back because they can overcome some adverse situations.
2nd and 10. Running it every time so far. And Anderson able to slip out of a tackle and pick up about 4. C.J. Anderson is going to see the bulk of the carries today. Again, they're without Monte Ball and Ronnie Hillman. That could be the case for another week or two. And what do you think of C.J. Anderson?
Well, I think he's a power runner. We've seen that right ahead so far here today. But you can tell after having so few running attempts last week, they're determined to get back to being physical on the offensive side. That means running the football and doing it well.
54 attempts last week through the air, only 9 rushing plays. Now here they go throwing it for the first time. Peyton's going to dump it off to Anderson, who sidesteps the first tackler. And that move is going to be close to the first. Boy, he broke away from Odrick, and it looks like the spot's going to be good enough for the first down.
Yeah, and it's really important just to keep this drive going and give the offense some rhythm. That's what you always want. And also interesting, Virgil Green, the tight end, stayed in and pass block to make sure Peyton Manning had more time to make those decisions and where to throw it.
Well, all thanks to Anderson, they pick up that first down, that one wiggle, and they bring in Juwan Thompson now with a new set of downs. And here is the second-year male, the rookie, I should say, out of Duke. And that is a nice piece of running on his first carry. Juwan Thompson, also undrafted. Last week against the Rams, the injuries started piling up. First, Anderson fell on his own teammate, Julius Thomas, on his ankle. And then Monte Ball coming back after missing 5 games with a groin injury, re-aggravated things. And then the concussion that ended Sanders' day. You see Julius Thomas on the sideline today. 2nd and 3. And Demaryius Thomas is going to have the first down of the gain of 6.
What a good way to get wide receivers incorporated into the game. That was a running play. Peyton Manning saw that Jamar Taylor was far enough off. Give Demaryius Thomas a chance to catch the football, get involved, and pick up a first down.
So Peyton brings him to the line quickly. Just chipping away on this first drive for the Broncos. No play longer than the 8 yards gained on the first play of the drive. A lot of restructuring now with 3 on the play clock as Peyton on first down gives it to Thompson, and he's met by a couple of Dolphin defenders, including Misi. And Vernon with a flag on the field. Jeff Triplett is the referee for this game. As you see, some of the Dolphins, including Jimmy Wilson, trying to build their case.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 27 of the defense.
And that's Jimmy Wilson, who we said was in there arguing his
play. First down.
Unnecessary roughness called because of a headbutt. Of course, he's going against a player who was just concussed a week ago.
Well, the second time they both butted heads, but then Jimmy Wilson walked back in and instigated. And that's, listen, you're playing arguably the best quarterback in the history of the NFL. They can throw the ball against everybody, and you give them an easy 15 yards.
Sanders, who did not clear the protocol on concussions until Thursday, gets the inside handoff. And Emmanuel Sanders held in check for about 3. Now, Emmanuel Sanders has been such a free agent find for them. Of course, we knew what he could do over in Pittsburgh, but a lot of teams wanted him, and he fit in so seamlessly with this Broncos offense.
A lot of those teams are sitting there going, we didn't try hard enough, and I agree. I thought he was the #1 free agent wide receiver out there. Denver got him. Number 88, Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. You do everything you can on offense to get him the football.
2nd and 7. C.J. Anderson back in, running off the right side, and he's dragged down at about the 19. Another gain of 3. That was Jenkins on the tackle for the Dolphins.
Well, we talked to Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins, and the one thing he said, and I hear it from all defensive coordinators, when you get down inside the 20, the Broncos, of course, are great. They have so many plays they can give you, and the big thing you got to worry about is all the screens and unique plays that Peyton Manning has. Here comes a blitz.
That Coyle defense, he's done some job. Their last 5 games only giving up 11 points a game in a 4-1 stretch. 3rd and 5. Short pass to Tammy. by Taylor. Then a loss of 1.
Jim, they were ready for it. If you show blitz, one of the number one thing they like to go to is wide receiver screens. Peyton has to alter the throw, and look at Jamar Taylor. Good start for him. Recognizing it, coming up and making the tackle.
That'll bring out Brandon McManus. Traded from the New York Giants just before the start of the season. And the kick from 38 is good. Now 9 out of 12 on the season. A little methodical start for the John Fox offense. March down the field. They gained the benefit of a 15-yard penalty, but end up with the field goal. Jim Nantz and Phil Simms and Tracy Wolfson here in Denver. Like to welcome those of you who saw Philadelphia win today, recovering after last week's trouncing at Green Bay, taking out Tennessee. And here at 7-3, the Dolphins took the opening kickoff and drove 80 yards and scored on the ground. Daniel Thomas. And meanwhile, the Broncos have just finished their first series. They drive down very methodically, end up with a 38-yard field goal by Brandon McManus. And Miami drive was particularly impressed with what they did on the ground.
Yes, that, and Denver's going to be a little happy with their drive too. The fact that they lined up and just ran the football right straight ahead at the Miami defensive line and got a couple first downs. So they established the fact that they're going to try to be more physical and more balanced. And when you do that, it keeps the defense on edge, no question.
McManus really caught that one. So, again, a touchback, and we're going to step aside for the first time. Tannehill, impressive on that first drive, directing them down the field for a touchdown. Back here in the first quarter in Denver, and Miami Dolphins at 6-4, coming off a mini bye, if you will, last having played a week ago Thursday in a win against Buffalo. You see Von Miller's back on the field for the Denver defense. First down from their own 20. The Dolphins give it to Lamar Miller, and Derek Wolfe got a hand on him first to gain of 2. And we will remind you in a couple of weeks, the Cowboys will be at Soldier Field, take on the Chicago Bears. The Bears winners today for the second straight week, defeating Tampa Bay 21-13. Of course, we've got Thanksgiving coming up. We're going to be in Detroit for the first game up that day, the Bears and the Lions, and then we'll have the Bears again on Thursday Night Football on NFL Network. 4 receivers on 2nd and 8, and Tannehill led Landry just a little bit too much.
Well, he had him open that time, Jarvis Landry. Got protection. One of the big keys, you talked about the offensive line giving time, but the other big key for this Miami offense, they have to beat man-to-man coverage. So let's watch Dallas Thomas, the right tackle. Good job. He's big, bigger than, of course, Von Miller. Use that size and get the first initial hit and slow down Von Miller.
Miami never faced a third down on its opening drive. 3rd and 8. And here comes T.J. Ward giving chase. Tannehill forced to throw it away. Ward, a safety blitz, forcing to throw away, and 3 and out for Miami.
Well, blitzing's all about timing. Catch the quarterback when he's not ready. He came around the outside. And spacing, they gave him room, so they opened up a formation where he could run through, and T.J. Ward timed it perfectly.
Brandon Fields comes out. 8th-year man out of Michigan State. He did have one punt blocked earlier this season, but he's third all-time in average yards per punt, only trailing Shane Letko and Thomas Morstead. This one hops into the hands of Burse with a flag on the field. Burse tries to keep his balance out to about the 35. That was a 53-yard boot. And the tackle was by John Denny, the long snapper.
Always wonder, does this altitude get the officials too when they have to run down the field?
Kind of looked like it right there, didn't it?
Tripp was going, hey, it gets me. I walk up some stairs and go, man, am I that out of shape? Don't answer that, Jim.
Yeah, I was about to.
Yeah, I thought you were.
During the kick, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 31 of the receiving team, blocking a player out of bounds.
The
That
penalty is
penalty
called
forces the end of the kick.
Holden.
First down, timeout.
Yeah, that is a little excessive. Into the photographers, cost them 15. Get the fastest football scores and updates with the CBS Sports app. The fastest app for sports fans. Download it now, CBS Sports app. Second time now the Broncos have the football. Drove for a field goal on their first series. They're trying to work the middle a little bit with Anderson, and he's got a couple. This is an interesting matchup, this high-powered offense against a strong defense.
Yes, Miami defense has put up some staggering numbers here of late. Anytime you shut out a football team in this league, that's special. And they did that against the San Diego Chargers. I expect them to be aggressive, even though they're going against Peyton Manning. They try to use the blitz whenever they can. They did the first drive, and it stopped this offense for a field goal.
On 2nd and 8, again, it's Anderson, who's got 5. Anderson getting the chance to play again with Ball and Hillman both out. And he's had some pretty good burst here in the last couple of weeks. But we met with him yesterday. He's a kid from the Oakland area, stayed there at Cal Berkeley. Took some advice from Marshawn Lynch.
Good person to get it from. And then Peyton Manning loves him because he's a great communicator. Talks to him back there. Tells him where he needs to go to block for Peyton Manning. There he is. Yep. There we are talking. Going to get up wide. This double-A blitz where there's a guy on each side of the center. Tough to defend.
3rd and 4. He picks up a blitzer, and the pass is over the head. Demaryius Thomas. So, like Miami, Denver's second drive finishes quickly.
You saw the blitz where there's a guy on each side of the center. That is a staple of this defense. And here's a matchup you want to watch. Jamar Taylor. Cortland Finnegan out, but Jamar Taylor, like I said, there's the blitz coming inside, and C.J. Anderson picks it up. Very good job. Jamar Taylor has speed, talent. Good start for him on the outside.
Britton Colquitt, 6th-year man out of Tennessee, slides over to get that snap, and boy, he had some pressure coming in on him too from McCain as Landry, look at that spin move. Then tossed out of bounds by the long snapper of Denver, Aaron Brewer. 45-yard punt. Each team scored the first time they had it. Both teams 3 and out on their second possessions. People affected by severe weather and other disasters need help now. To support those impacted by disasters like the winter storms in Buffalo and countless other crises, text Red Cross to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Disaster Relief. CBS Cares. By the way, Talib was laying down on a table and getting stretched out with his left leg.
Yep, DeMarcus Ware not out there again, Jim, for the second time. Tracy reported he was under the weather.
Yep, fighting a fever.
It's a big deal. One of the league's best pass rushers not in this game.
Miami starting in Denver's territory, and that pass, well, they're going to rule it an interception. And that's Roby who was able to pick it off the ground before it. And I'm not sure about that. Was trying to hit LaMichael James right here with this pass. I thought it had bounced into the arms of Roby.
They ruled it on the field now, an incomplete pass. I thought it bounced,
well,
and it did.
Clearly, but you know, the official closest to it allowed it to hold up.
I think the big thing is, watch, that's definitely hits the ground. But the thing, Jim, Tannehill was under pressure. Mitch Unrein right in front of him. 3 passes, 4 passes, pressure on every single one of them so far in this game.
There you go. Miami, again, starting with a short field. They have that more than any team in the league this year. Over to Mike Wallace, but a whistle first. It might be a challenge flag before the snap. And whoever would have sent that word down to the sideline gave out some bad information based on the replays we saw.
Well, his hands were underneath, but the fact that it kicked up so hard is what makes you think it hit the ground.
Denver is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass.
Big play, good challenge by John Fox.
Well, here it is. We'll take another look at it. It's got to be incomplete, though. F triplet is ready.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The pass hit the ground. It is an incomplete pass. Denver is charged a timeout and their first challenge.
Well, Jim, let me just say this real quick. John Fox, it had to be a quick look and determination, and it's such a big play here early in the game. It could turn everything around. So that's why he would challenge. It's worth a timeout in the first half.
Well, I think it's not coming from John so much as it's coming from up top. And the replays we had seen were pretty clear. A 2nd and 10 for Miami from the Denver 47. And again, Tannehill going to keep it. Nice cut. Then takes a big hit from Webster after a gain of 7.
Well, I like what Bill Lazor said to us last night about Ryan Tannehill. Hey, listen, he likes to run the football, and he's very good at it, but he does this a lot. He's able to get down the field and make people miss.
By the way, he ran away from his old Aggie teammate, Von Miller, who's still waiting for the first chance to hit him.
Yeah, there's no red jersey on him like there was in his college days, so it'll be interesting to see when it does happen.
DeMarcus Ware comes back in for the Denver defense, 3rd and 3. Landry slipped in motion, and Tannehill got the pass away somehow, and it is caught by Gibson for a first down.
Well, Von Miller had him that time and takes him down to the ground, but Tannehill made a couple really outstanding throws here early in the game. How about this? Just getting out of the reach of Von Miller and still able to make this throw. Boy, Von Miller had nothing but wonderful things to say about Tannehill. What did he say when I saw him on campus for the first time? I knew he was a quarterback.
That was back in the spring of '07 after they both had signed with A&M. Straight ahead. Nice piece of running by Miller for about 9. And that's going to close out quarter number 1 with the Dolphins in front, 7-3 and driving. We'll return to the Mile High City after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Miami with the 62 yards on the ground in the first quarter. That's the most rush yards allowed by Denver in any quarter this year. Jim Nantz, Phil Simms, Tracy Wolfson were back here for the start of the second quarter. And Miami has the football at the Denver 25. The snow flurries have returned. They've been on and off about 3 times today. It's Miller breaking through, getting down to about the 14.
Boy, Lamar Miller is quick, isn't he? And just he explodes through the line of scrimmage. We saw it a couple times against the Buffalo Bills. And once again, you look at it, Samson Satelli, Mike Pouncey, Shelley Smith all on the inside, doing an excellent job. This Miami offensive line finally got a full week of practice after shifting everybody around a couple weeks ago in a game against Detroit.
Got a new set of downs from the 14. Tannehill looking to strike, and he's got the completion. And twisting right at the first down marker is Mike Wallace.
Boy, it's trusting your wide receiver there. You got to anticipate it's going to be tight, top of your screen. Little stutter, go, stop. One thing I've noticed about this Dolphins team, the wide receivers, they have speed on the outside. They are not afraid to throw it to the sidelines. And they do it well.
They've got a 1st and goal to go. And again, Talib is out, so we're seeing a lot of Kayvon Webster, number 36. Here's Tannehill looking and finding Sims, who reaches across. They say the knee is down at the 1.
Doing a really good job. They're mixing it up. Bill Lazor, offensive coordinator, moving the quarterback all around, get him outside. I think he's going to end up short. At least my eye told me that. Yes. Oh, my gosh. He got a great spot. Inside the 1, it was really the 2-yard line.
Bill Lazor, the offensive coordinator. Let's see what he sends in here. He's got Miller returning to the backfield. He's going to spread things out on 2nd and goal from just inside the 1.
2 good run stoppers each side of the center for the Denver Broncos.
Tannehill still has it. He's looking for the pylon, and he's got the touchdown.
Man, that's a brave call. That's brave, because if it doesn't work, you're going to lose 3 or 4 yards. But they understand everybody attacking on the run, and it's a good block on the outside. Von Miller gets sealed inside by Deion Sims. And Tannehill, I'll tell you, every time I see him, I think he's getting faster.
He has shown some speed. Getting away from Von Miller that other time on this drive.
When you play wide receiver at Texas A&M,
you've got some speed.
You've got some speed.
How about this? 74 rushing yards now by the Dolphins. And a second touchdown drive. This time it's Tannehill taking it across. 14-3 Miami. Tomorrow on CBS, start your week with an exciting new episode of Scorpion and see what people are talking about. Tomorrow, 9/8 Central, only CBS.
I thought you were going to talk about all those contact lenses.
Boy, that is a pretty big container. Didn't realize that many players would need them.
As long as it's not the wide receivers.
Right. This is Bolden. Had a nice return the last time he handled it. Got a 29-yard run back out to the 23 this time. Here comes Peyton. He's passed for only 11 yards so far, and he's down 11. Miami with the upper hand. Just a couple minutes into the second quarter, all across the board. Denver with its third possession as you look in on Cameron Wake.
2 tight ends. I think they're going to try to throw the football down the field here pretty quick. They've been trying to run it. Time for a play-action pass.
There you go. Swinging over to Sanders, and Clady helps push him forward. His left tackle grab hold of the wide out, and he throws him ahead for 5. Sanders' first catch of the game.
Yeah, boy, but I think the story of that play is the speed of this defense. Peyton Manning gets pressured right away. They blow the blocking assignments up front, and nobody blocked the interior defensive lineman.
Boy, this offensive line, as you alluded to, it's been under a lot of scrutiny this week.
It sure has. I mean, that was the big story after the game in St. Louis. The offensive line not running the football and not protecting Peyton Manning enough.
2nd and 5, and Riggs pass. It's the right hand of Demaryius Thomas.
Tell you what, you got to get used to. Anytime you can watch all the film you want when you're getting ready for a football team, but you got to get out in the field and see it for yourself to get some experience. And what you find out about this Miami defense, and Jim, you know it, they're fast. They're faster than it looks on all the things you watch, and you got to make an adjustment and start playing differently because of the speed on their defensive side.
The longest pass play for the Broncos to this point, 6 yards. It's a 3rd and 5 from the 28.
Little different look. That's why he called timeout.
So that's the second timeout charged to Denver. They lost the challenge. That was their first, and now this one.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Macy's, Cialis, and by the new comedy Horrible Bosses 2, in theaters November 26th.
It has been snowing heavily just west of here, up in the Rockies, and we've seen a few flurries here today at the stadium. 3rd and 5 for the Broncos, coming out of their timeout. And they're going to have the first down and a whole lot more as Sanders finally faces a collision at the 47, picks up 18.
Well, they were trying to be clever on the defensive side, 3 down linemen, but you always have to be alert. There's a mix-up. They're playing a zone, and you saw on the right side, somebody runs down the field man-to-man. That's why Sanders was wide open.
Sanders' second catch on this drive. He's on pace for a 107-catch season. Picks up 18. Before that, they had only 17 passing yards. Here's Sanders again. This time, Grimes is up on him in a hurry. Holds it to a gain of 2. Tomorrow on CBS, there's a mole inside NCIS Los Angeles, and no one is safe. A can't miss new NCIS Los Angeles tomorrow at 10, 9 Central, only CBS. Sanders comes out for this next snap, and Andre Caldwell takes his place.
I'm waiting for the fake short throw and go deep. The Dolphins are attacking the football at the line of scrimmage. That's 4 short throws. They've been extremely aggressive on every single one of them.
2nd and 8. It's a toss to C.J. Anderson. And he's got room. Look at Anderson. Running behind Vasquez, and Caldwell, who would come in at wide out, did a good job blocking.
They sure did. They sealed the outside once again. Virgil Green set the tone, and it allowed Vasquez to come outside and get that block. But Virgil Green, number 85, just gives you more flexibility in your run game. And if he decides to block for Peyton Manning, he's a very good pass protector too.
I tell you, Caldwell helped give him another 10 yards with a great block. That goes for 25 overall. Sanders returns.
Caldwell's tough outside. He'll catch the ball in traffic. One of those guys that'll do a little bit of everything.
And again, it's Anderson. This time, quick contact from Jimmy Wilson, who came up. Holds him to 1.
Jimmy Wilson, of course, is a extra defensive back. I think it's safe to say, Jim, and just you can see this Miami Dolphins defense, Kevin Coyle, defensive coordinator, they're not going to just sit back and let Peyton Manning dictate to them. They're going to attack him every chance they get.
Yeah, the Broncos right now facing their largest home deficit of the season. Down 11, but driving again with Anderson. And their full progress will pick up about 4. This is a Miami team that has won 4 of its last 5. And Joe Philbin tries to find a unique way to talk to his team before every game. Last night he talked to his team about how many, gave them a number, 1,692, and says, what is that number? And that was a number of plays run this year. Plays that he said were proof without tough everybody. Without play.
I think the biggest thing he says, if we win the bar, it's not because we're going to be lucky. It's because we're good. This team believes they can be trying to reach that next level.
3rd and 5, and that's another first down catch. And a 3rd down play for Sanders, and an additional amount coming on the back end of that because of Jimmy Wilson.
Got underneath the helmet. We're a long way away, but I could see it from here.
Personal foul. Defense, number 27. Grabbing the helmet opening in the back. After distance to goal, automatic first down.
2nd personal foul call already of this game by Jimmy Wilson.
Watch his right hand there. He pulls him down. His
Number
fingers
71 reports as eligible. Number 71 is eligible.
underneath the back of the helmet and pulls him down. Oh, a very good shot there. Paul Kornick, extra offensive lineman, now coming in as a tight end. You think run when you see an extra lineman. Be alert for play action pass.
And Peyton trying to throw a touchdown in his 50th consecutive game, moving in on some all-time records. Going to run it though with Thompson, and again an undrafted back. That's all that people have been talking about, how much they've been getting out of Anderson and Thompson, who had a 2-touchdown performance in their last home game here when they beat San Diego on a Thursday night a month ago.
Well, you know, you look at this, 14-3, crowd getting a little uneasy. They want them to run the ball. Well, when they're trying to run it, which they're doing well here, it's going to change the look of this Broncos football team. But a slow start, but here they are trying to close that gap. So a lot of good things still happening for this Broncos offense.
2nd and goal. Peyton has Tammy, and it's a touchdown for Denver, but there is a flag.
See if it's going to be an offensive pick play.
Pass interference, offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty, repeat, second down.
Demaryius Thomas.
Well, when you're inside the 20, we talked about it earlier, they do so many things to get receivers loose. 88's going to go inside. He's going to break out. So watch what happens. Hits him, and that is pass interference. He extended his arms, knocked his guy back, And you can only do that within 1 yard of the line of scrimmage.
And that was about 3 yards off the line.
Yes.
So the ball is backed up to the 15 now. 2nd and goal. Good slant. It goes back to Demaryius Thomas. It forces about 3 Dolphins to bring him down at the 5. We got an injured Miami player. And it's Odrick. Jared Odrick.
Nice.
Here is Odrick, who was able to get up and walk to the sideline. And
Orlando Franklin, 74, falls on him. I'm sure it took the breath out of him. A 320-pounder fall on you. It knocked my breath out, but looks like he's okay when you see him run the sideline.
It's 3rd and goal from the 5.
3 down look, a little different.
Across the middle, and it is caught for a touchdown. Demaryius Thomas.
That was a good job by Peyton Manning. They had it covered. But Jelani Jones does not look for the football. He's all over it. Turn your head, you might intercept the pass. But the quarterback, Manning, I'm sure he sees 88 coming across. He can see that he's not looking, so you throw the football.
That was the 3rd time on that drive they converted on 3rd down. The first 2 times it was Sanders. This time it was Thomas. Peyton now 50 consecutive games with a touchdown pass. Extra point is good. Thomas's first touchdown catch of the month, his 7th of the year. We're back here in Denver. Peyton Manning's first career game. Of course, he started it back in 1998, was against Miami. Late in that game, he hit Marvin Harrison for his first touchdown pass. Of course, he set the all-time touchdown mark earlier this season, did Peyton, breaking Favre's record, and now he's moving in on another record, that the consecutive game streak of throwing at least 1 touchdown pass.
Well, they had the perfect defense on, and they still couldn't stop it.
That was, for the record, number 522 on his career, as the tackle is broken, but the Broncos are there to bring down Williams.
Well, Jim, let's look what happens. There's Demaryius Thomas inside. You see all the help. Nobody's open, really. Everybody's covered, except you got to look for the football if you want to knock it down. Tough spot for Jenkins there, being a linebacker covering a wide receiver.
Talib is in. See him at the top of the screen.
Here he is, top 21.
He's gone to the locker room for a brief while. Running up the middle, Miller. And he's got 3 as he's ridden down by Knighton.
Yeah, Jim, some of the things you see when you watch the Dolphins on offense, that time, Jarvis Landry in motion, a lot of misdirection, and they're hoping that misdirection will slow down this Denver defense a little bit.
Miller now with 6 carries for 52 yards. Talib now on the near side. Tannehill lobs it over the top to Gibson, and the ball comes out as Talib stripped it. It's going to be ruled. Is it ruled a completion? It's ruled a catch.
Yep.
I'm going to mark it at the point where he fumbled it.
Very good. Great mark.
Mark it back at the 20. 3rd and 3. Tannehill hooks it up with Wallace, who wiggles past the defender, Barrow, for the first down. Gain of 10.
Well, we talked about this matchup early in the game, and this helps Tannehill get extra time. Dallas Thomas, Von Miller, Thomas sitting back. Oh, he wins the war immediately. He's the first guy to hit him, stays back. Von Miller can't use that speed and get around him. Well, Dallas Thomas, you know, practice is pretty important in the gym. You know, you get a little practice time, you get ready. Definitely playing better. It's early, but playing better than he did last week.
And again, last week, his first career start came on a short week on a Thursday night game against Buffalo. So now he had the full week of practice. His first down throw. And again, it comes out of the hands of Gibson. But it's a gain of 8. This time it was Harris who knocked it out. We got an injured Dolphin. And they don't have much to spare when it comes to the offensive line, and that's Jawan James.
Ooh, left tackle.
Left tackle, who was their first round pick, who had to move to left tackle with Brandon Albert out for the year. There you see Jawan James. They can't afford to lose him. What do you think happened there, Phil?
You know, Jim, just speculating, maybe a little, gets his arm, left arm gets caught, maybe he just got a little pinch in there and moving it around. Looks like he might be okay.
Let's go down to Tracy.
Well, thanks, Jim. I will find an update on Jawan James in just a second, but just an update on Aqib Talib. You mentioned he was in the locker room. It was a left hamstring injury. He was in there for a while getting treatment. Then you saw him get back on the field. He just briefly went back in again, and now he is out. It looks as though he's going to keep playing through this, but he's been running on it. It's just been bothersome. Jim?
2nd and 4. You see Jason Fox is in at left tackle. And this is James, well, Michael James, a former 49er, getting his first carry as a Dolphin, and it goes for 3. During that injury timeout, the officials respotted the ball from the previous play when Gibson had it knocked out of his hands again, moved it back 2 yards. So now it's a 3rd and 1, inside 5 minutes to go, second quarter. Tannehill has hit his last 6 passes. And that's Thomas falling right in front of Raheem Moore and a first down, gain of 10.
Good ball handling. It confused me. The mesh point of the wide receiver coming around is so quick, it can slow you down, but they got that defensive line of Denver all moving to the right, and then the cutback.
Look at Fox
Smith.
just in, 74.
Yep.
He took Derek Wolfe to the ground.
And now Shelley Smith is in at left guard for Darren Collins.
Michael James is the running back. First down for Miami. Here's Tannehill. Rolling out, finding an open Hartline. Brian Hartline left open for 18.
I was going to say, come on, you got to give the left tackle some help, but they didn't because they're rolling to the right. And Brian Hartline, we saw him against Buffalo have a big catch all the way across the formation. And once again, the Dolphins moving the quarterback around. Hard to get to him. You don't know where he's going to be.
First catch for Hartline. You can see 8 plays, 10 and above for the Dolphins. His longest touchdown this season as a team. Been only 21 yards for the offense. Now their defense and returns have done some other bigger things, but that was one thing people were talking about this week. And they'll be talking in the coming days about Thanksgiving Day. A good lineup of games, and we're going to lead it off. We're going to be in Detroit for Chicago and the Lions at 12:30 Eastern Time. Look forward to sharing Thanksgiving with all of you.
There you go. Calvin Johnson, always a treat to see play, and Detroit's defense, best in the NFL when it comes to points. The most important stat there is for defense.
Yeah, they had a rough one today, though, as everybody has in the last month and a half against New England. 2nd and 9 as Tannehill has pressure from Ware and still got the pass away to Matthews, who breaks tackles, and the ball comes out, recovered at the last moment by Miller.
Boy, what a job by Miller. That's about, what, the 3rd or 4th time we've seen the football come free. DeMarcus Ware made a great move on Jason Fox. How about Tannehill takes it to the chest and makes another good throw?
It would have been, well, it is ruled a fumble, and that's the right call. Clearly coming out, as that's the 3rd time we've seen the ball come out on this drive with Miami moving on. For the 2-minute warning, that play picked up 21. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach. All the scores and highlights. Verizon halftime report. First and goal. Miami's had the football on this drive for over 5 minutes. Tannehill, end zone bound, and is caught for the touchdown. Mike Wallace.
Beautiful throw. Right on target, down low, making sure there's no room. You give yourself room for a mistake. In the bunch formation that they used, what did it do? It backed off the defense, and Talib is in the end zone and no chance to react to the perfect timing of the cut by Wallace and the throw by Tannehill. It's a completion. Don't worry about the knees. The body hits in. That's reason to smile. What a first half for the Miami quarterback. Just continuing the play we've seen.
14. Wallace's 7th touchdown of the season. Wallace now 4 career games at Denver. The first 3 he was a Steeler. All 4 times here he's found the end zone. Ryan Tannehill has thrown his 18th touchdown pass of the season. He's driven the Dolphins down the field 3 times in this first half for touchdowns. That one perhaps the most impressive drive of all. 87 yards in over 5 minutes and 10 plays.
Yeah, 10 plays, time. Your left tackle goes down, your line's in shambles, and you overcome it. Tremendous play calling and diversity of what they're doing. Keep the defense off guard.
Sturgis's kick. And Caldwell with no chance to return it.
Well, Jim, let's look at the touchdown throw. This formation makes them back off. Here's Talib. Mike Wallace just goes out and beats him to the corner. So look at the backpedaling. Now, the quick cut and the perfect throw, low and outside. That is really well designed and, of course, well executed. Just almost a perfect first half by the Miami Dolphins offense.
Denver's offense, 122 yards to this point. But last time on the field, the Broncos go for a score. Fake into the line, and Peyton's pass is complete to Demaryius Thomas for a big gain, 21.
Really good throw. Peyton Manning now has 2 gloves on just to get a better feel for that football. We see those fumbles. I think that has to do with it's a cool, crisp day. That football can get slick.
Again, Broncos have 1 timeout. This time, it's Sanders for 11.
Now, the Dolphins, when they play this type of defense, they're just not very good. They play back. They're playing zone. Zone against Peyton Manning. You're just saying, okay, we're going to give you some completions. You hope somewhere to find a way to stop it.
As we approach a minute, down the field, long pass, and over the head of everybody. Sanders was the wide out in the area. And again, the Verizon halftime report straight ahead. They're getting all set in the studio.
Saw Mr. Football there. Pat Kerwin talking to Bill Cowher.
Pat Kerwin.
JB and Tony Gonzalez discussing something.
He knows football. And, of course, an editorial consultant inside that studio, a valuable part of things. 2nd down and 10.
This is what they're good at, Jim. Crowd the line of scrimmage, make you think.
They're going to run it. Interesting cover with only 1 timeout, and it's one that draws a flag. Anderson for about 6.
Illegal use of hands in the face. Number 64 of the offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
I was about to say, if the Broncos could time this just right, work things out in their favor, they get the second half kickoff. They could put up a score here before the half, come right back out and get the 3rd quarter kick.
The old double, they love it. We've seen it many years with Peyton Manning, Adam Gase, offensive coordinator. There's a fine line, and you have to tread it with Peyton Manning and this offense of running and throwing. Hey, the story here, it's not this Broncos offense, it's Miami's offense.
2nd and 20, incomplete.
Well, nice change up that time by the Miami defense. They crowd the line of scrimmage. That time they push the pocket back. They make Peyton Manning make a tough throw to the sideline.
Now on the other side of things, don't forget Miami has 3 timeouts. Denver needs 20 to convert. We got a man open. And it is Sanders reaching up to pull it down. A flag is on the field near the 40-yard line. He quick snapped it. The Dolphins defense was not ready. That was some catch on top of it all by Sanders for 35.
Illegal contact, number 22 of the defense. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Sanders' 6th catch now for 77 here in this half.
You know, Jim, third and 20. Third and 20, and you go and try to jump on a 5-yard route. And when you do that, wow, you played right into the hands of what they love to do on this offense. They are the kings of double moves, and good time to call it third and long because the defense doesn't expect it.
Caldwell in for Sanders. Goes to Demarius, middle of the field. And the clock is still running here with 30 seconds to go, holding on to that 1 timeout.
Yep, plenty of time. Really good job of using the clock so far in this drive.
They get Sanders back onto the field, near side. Again, they go middle, and it's Wes Welker a yard short of the first, and there's going to be the timeout, the last one.
Well, let's go back and look to a play that could be a turning point in this game today. 3rd and 20, top of the screen. Here's the first down. Watch the quick move by Emmanuel Sanders. Well, I was wrong. It was about 8 to 10 yards down the field. Really, what a catch. And the Dolphins very lucky that that wasn't a catch and run for a touchdown. But I always tell everybody this, and you know, Jim, we talk about this in our meetings. Peyton Manning, and since the start of his career, even in Indianapolis, always looking for ways to get the move to go over the top of you. And what's happened here so far today, the Dolphins have been aggressive outside, so he took advantage of it that time on the double move.
3rd and 1, 16 seconds, no timeouts.
You can throw it inside. If he gets tackled, though, you have to hustle to stop the clock with a spike of the football.
Yeah, that would be very close. To the end zone. For the touchdown, Demarius Thomas.
What a job by Peyton Manning. Looked it off. The timing was tremendous. A zone by the Dolphins and a huge drive by this Denver offense. 88. You're Peyton Manning. Oh, it's a little double move. Very common in the NFL. 88 in the slot, watching. Fakes out. Oh, you make no contact with him. Everybody's got a free release. One of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the league. They made it look easy.
It's amazing that Demarius Thomas could be that invisible in that secondary. Like you say, one of the best in the league on the outside, and no one was near him.
Great learning lesson right there. Kevin Coyle, the defensive coordinator, goes in and said, to heck with this. You got to bump these guys at the line of scrimmage. He was looking left all the time. Jones, number 20, the deep safety. There was no threat on that side. The only one you had to worry about was Demarius.
Peyton Manning smiling as he walks to the sideline as he takes his team 80 yards in 1 minute and 42 seconds with only 1 timeout to work with. And they got it done.
Let's look at it, Jim. Is there any threat outside? If there's not, then you want to stay inside and watch Demarius Thomas. Here it goes. Oh, he went for the move outside. I didn't see that till just then. So that little head fake by Demarius Thomas is what did it. But he was 8 yards deep in the end zone.
Well, Denver puts together touchdown drives the last 2 touches. And after what happened last week in St. Louis,
yes,
this is what this offense needed. They needed to get the engines reignited, restarted.
Nobody's immune to lose a little confidence, even a Peyton Manning with his offense. But these last 2 drives, very impressive. And that one, overcoming adversity, 3rd and 20, and scoring right before half. It's pretty awesome to look at.
And just 12 seconds to go. We'll see if Miami has any ideas. Pretty nifty little footwork there by Landry. Tonight, how safe are America's bridges and roads? Not very is the answer. Don't miss the 60 Minutes investigation that affects every American. That's tonight on 60 Minutes, only CBS.
Situational football, right? That's what it was. 3rd and 20. What happens if they gain 10 yards? Nothing. They punt. That's what they do. Boy, both quarterbacks spectacular here in the first half throwing the football.
And that'll do it for the first half. Miami heads to the locker room with the lead, but Denver drives down the field right before the intermission and will receive the second half kick. Peyton, 15 out of 19, 147 yards and a couple of touchdowns. We're going to go down to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks a lot, Coach. I was going to ask you about your offense, but the defensive breakdown there on that touchdown drive, what happened?
Yeah, well, you know, I think they've scored 7 out of in 10 games. They've scored 7 times inside of 2 minutes. We talked about it all week. They executed better. We got to do better on defense there.
Well, let's talk about your offense and the job that Ryan Tannehill has done in this first half. What's been working to keep them off balance?
Well, I think the run game has been working very well. So we've been in a lot of manageable down and distance, and then Ryan's throwing the ball accurately. So we only had that 1 3rd and long, and they blitzed and they got us off the field. Other than that, we've been in great shape.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
Jim?
All right, thank you, Tracy. Broncos had only 44 yards in the first quarter, but 168 in that second quarter. 21-17 Miami at halftime. Back with the Verizon halftime report after this message and a word from your local station. It was exciting first.